In the previous session, we saw what are study skills, why is there a need to understand and utilize study skills as a tool of learning, what are the various factors that go into studying which might ultimately affect the child's capacity to retrieve, and what are the conditions that warrant the use of study skills. In this session, we would be discussing some of the techniques which we use as study skills. The techniques that we are going to see today are how to learn a definition, how to do a context map, a linear chart, a Venn diagram, a mnemonic, and how to learn using the tactile method. The first technique we are going to discuss is how to study a definition. Definition is something that the child is expected to learn right from his primary days. The thing about definition is that the child is expected to learn it by heart and retrieve it word by word. Defining something in his or her own words might not be acceptable. So, for children with difficulties in learning, retrieving something randomly might be very difficult. So, let us see whether we can try to fit in a structure for a definition, because recalling something that fits a structure will be much more easier than recalling randomly. Let us start by defining something as simple as a butterfly. How do you define a butterfly? A butterfly is an insect with colorful wings. Can we do the same thing for a spider? A spider is an insect which has 8 legs and builds a web. Can we try defining a pencil? A pencil is a piece of stationery which is used to write, and its tip is called a lead tip. Let us try defining a eraser. An eraser is again a piece of stationery which is used to erase the written material or what was written. Okay. Now, let us take the first definition of a butterfly. Butterfly is an insect with colorful wings. The first part of the definition, which says butterfly is an insect, tells you the category to which the butterfly belongs, which in this case is an insect. So, this is called the general part of the definition. The second part is much more specific to the butterfly, which says it has colorful wings. So, this is this part that makes butterfly different from all the other insects that belong to this category. So, we call this specific part. So, a definition is generally made up of a general part and a specific part. Depending on the class level of the child, the specific part may be 1 or 2. Take for example, the definition of a spider. A spider is an insect would be the general part. That which has 8 legs would be specific part 1, which builds a web would be specific part 2. So, a definition is made up of a general part and a specific part. Let us see some academic definitions to find whether we can fit in the same structure there. Let us start by defining an island. An island is a landform which is covered on all 4 sides by water. So, island is a landform would be the general part, covered on all 4 sides by water would be the specific part. In the same way, for a peninsula, peninsula is a landform would be the general part, and covered by water on 3 sides would be the specific part. Once this structure has been internalized by the child, the next thing we do is color code the general and the specific part. You can use any color as per the comfort level of the child. So, generally we can use a green color for the general part and a red color for a specific part. So, you can ask the child to write the general part in green and to write the specific part in red, and if there is one or more specific part, you can use another color too. Instead of using colors, you can also use colored charts or colored strips of paper on which you can write the general part and the specific part. See, the advantage of using colored strips of paper is that in case you find attention is wavering in class, you can just take up those strips of paper, jumble it up and ask the child to rearrange to form a sensible definition, and then you can ask him to write. In this way, learning can be made interesting. We can learn definitions using the kinesthetic way also. But please keep in mind that all definitions cannot be done kinesthetically. So, as and when possible, please try to use the kinesthetic method of learning because it is interesting for the child. Let us take the example of an island and a definition and see how it can be done kinesthetically. So, island is a landform which is covered on all four sides by water. So, I am the landform. So, island is a landform that is covered on all four sides by water. Peninsula is a landform that is covered on three sides by water. Please note that I have stopped my hand till here, meaning it is covered only on three sides. I have not completed the circle. When you do this, again when you find that class is becoming a little inattentive or it is becoming monotonous, you can act out the definitions and ask the child to remember, retrieve and verbalize it, or you can even ask the child to do it kinesthetically and ask the other children to verbalize and follow it up with writing. This is how we learn definitions.